Good morning, Year 11. I hope you're all well. Um, this was yesterday's homework, so we'll just take a look at this together. Um, if you would just write down anything that you need to in terms of grammar that I go through here as well. So the question meant, what do you usually argue over? Now, por qué means why, but also for what. So for what things do you usually argue? Now, that verb there, if it'll focus, soléis means do you usually, okay? And if you want to take this down, this is the verb, this is just a grammar point. So, and the grammar point is soler. So, the verb soler actually means to usually do something. We would not have an equivalent of that in English at all, okay? So it just in the present tense is formed like this. It's an O to UE verb, so it's a stem changing verb. O to UE. There was your O there, okay? So changes to a UE. My arrow's all over the place there. So it's suelo. I usually. Sueles. You usually. Suele. He or she usually. Solemos. We usually. Soléis, the one you see in the question. You, plural, usually. And finally, suelen. They, usually. Okay, so I'll let you get that down first, if you can see it. Okay, just pause if you need to and get that down then, girls, okay? So, for example, we could say, if I want to say, I usually study Spanish every day, we would say, suelo. And then we use the infinitive of the verb. You remember that we can't use two verbs in a row in the present tense, so we have to use the infinitive in the second one, just like in English. I usually study, that's the infinitive in English, estudiar. El español. Cada día, each day. If you want to write down two more in your margin, okay, and I want you to write these down yourselves now, okay, so number 2, could you write, we usually work in the garden. Pause if you need to. Number 3, they usually talk by telephone on Saturdays. So we usually work in the garden. What was that? That's right. It's solemos trabajar en el jardín. En el jardín. And finally, suelen hablar. They usually talk por teléfono. By phone, teléfono, we accent on that. Los sábados, on Saturdays. Los sábados. Remember, you don't need en los sábados or anything like that. It's just los sábados, on Saturdays. Okay? So that's the verb soler. That's in your grammar book now, and just if you could learn that point. So there it is there in the question. So, well, pues, la mayoría de nuestras discusiones empiezan por culpa de mis notas en los exámenes. So, the majority of our fights, our arguments, start, empezar, you know, is the verb to start, because of. That's really nice. Por culpa de. Now, culpa is blame. for a negative reason of, okay? So por culpa de, because of my marks, notas en los exámenes, in the exams. Last month, mes, as you know, no accent. They were arguing with me because I almost failed. Suspenders to fail, okay? Not to suspend. You didn't suspend an exam over a balcony or something like that. No, you failed an exam, okay? I almost failed a maths exam because I forgot to revise. Me olvidé. That's from the verb, girls. Olvidarse. I'll just put that there so you can see it. If you can see underneath. Olvidarse. To forget. And you know that any reflexive verb that ends in se then has the same, you remember, me lavo, me te lavas, same thing. So, for example, me olvido, I'm not going to write the whole verb out, but it's, in this case, it's an AR verb. So it's just the o, as, a, amos, aisan endings in the present tense. And then, of course, your reflexive pronouns. Do you remember them all? That's right. Me, te, se, nos, os, se. That's correct. Good. So here we go. I forgot to revise. Repasar, to revise. Okay. Also, lately, we are arguing quite a bit, bastante, about. Sobre means about. Going out at the weekends. Salir los fines de semana. They believe that I am still a child. Todavía means still. Okay. Soy una niña, as you know, I am a child, but I'm already 15 years old, and I think that I am sufficiently responsible in order to go out all the evening with my friends. It seems very unfair, injusto. Now, remember, me parece, nice wee structure. It seems, okay? It's a nice way of saying, just instead of saying es all the time. So then you went on and you did your questions. This one here, ¿Qué tipo de cosas hacéis en familia? What do you normally do as a family? Normally vamos a, for example, al centro comercial, o vamos a la playa, vamos de vacaciones. You could use this solemos maybe here as well. We usually plus a verb. For example, solemos ir al cine los viernes, or something like that. Siempre comemos juntos. We always eat together, and we're not allowed to use the mobile at the table, en la mesa. ¿Cómo es tu mejor amigo? What is your best friend like? And you just would have given a description, girls, that would have kind of mirrored what you're like yourself. So do you remember this one from yesterday? So, en mi opinión, diría que es. I would say that she is. A veces puede ser. She can be. Or he can be. And things like that. And then just use your es generosa, callada, etc. Use those again for that answer. Okay. ¿A dónde vas a ir con tus amigos este verano? Where are you going to go with your friends this summer? So it is my intention to go to. Lovely wee structure. Instead of saying voy a ir, which you've got in the second one, vamos a, we are going to, use this. It is my intention to go. Okay, to wherever you're going to go. A Francia, a España. Now, none of us are going anywhere this year, girls. I was due to go to America. I would have been driving down the east coast of America and eating like a madman and enjoying every bit of it. And no, it's not going to happen. And same for everybody, isn't it? So, but I always say to you, try and put a bit of fiction in it where you can, just to make sure that the language is used. So, I'm going to go to Italy, I'm going to go to wherever you're going to go. You want to go to Swaziland, go to Swaziland. Wherever it is you're going to go. Vamos a visitar, es nuestro sueño ir a, wherever. Okay, so, háblame de tu rutina diaria los días del colegio. So talk about your daily routine on school days. And then it's sort of split up. Okay, this is what these are. That's if you answer the entire set of questions below, girls, as one. But separately, what time do you normally get up? In general, I get up at 6 o'clock, sorry. Por lo general, me levanto a eso de las 6. What do you usually eat for breakfast? There's your soler again. ¿Dónde sueles desayunar? Suelo desayunar. I usually have breakfast. Breakfast on cereales, tostadas, pan, té y café. And then where? En la cocina, or en el comedor, for example. ¿Qué haces antes de salir de casa? What do you do before going out of the house? Antes de salir de casa, suelo, use that again, suelo ver la televisión, suelo hablar con mi mamá, suelo desayunar, just all those things. ¿Sueles viajar al instituto? Suelo viajar en autobús, suelo viajar en coche, suelo viajar a pie. Okay, however you travel to school. ¿A qué hora llegaste al colegio esta mañana? At what time did you arrive at school this morning? This morning I arrived a las 8, a las 9 menos 20. Okay, whatever time it was that you arrived, I arrived. You remember llegar in the preterite tense, girls? Any verb that ends in gar, okay, entregar, llegar, in the Spanish, in the preterite, sorry, the first person has to have a G in it, okay? Why? Well, if I didn't have that U there, it would be pronounced llegue. And I don't want to say llegue. I want to have the same sound as G that's there, okay? So it's llegue, okay? And that works. Llegaste is back to normal because the A is a hard vowel, so it works. Whereas the E was a soft vowel. So after a G, a soft vowel, remember the G is pronounced he. So the U there adds the humph to the G to make it a hard G, okay? And that creates a hard vowel, if you like, a hard vowel sound here, okay? So llegue, llegaste, and then back to normal. It's only for the first person. I'm not going to give you the full verb, but just watch out for any verb that ends in gar. And any verb that ends in car in the preterite as well, if you remember. Sacar, for example. It's a similar thing. You can't say sathe. That doesn't work. That's k sound there, isn't it? K. And this has to be a k sound here. You can't have sathe. So it has to be sake. Okay? So any verb that ends in C-A-R-K, in the first person only. And again, you're back to normal after that. Sacaste, sacó. Okay, normal. Easte, almostaste, saron. It just so happens they're both AR verbs, but gar and car. And the last one I would point out to you while I'm at it, since it's in my head, is thar. Gar, car, thar. And a verb like that would be the verb cruthar. I cross, to cross, okay? And if I want to say I crossed, I actually can't have the Z. Do you remember we said the Z was like a wee saw, okay? It's like a saw, okay? And it actually, the problem with a Z is that it cuts through any wee vowels that are light vowels, if you like. They're an A or an O or a U can put up with a saw, okay? They are like metal. They can stick and they can stick in their place. These vowels here, C's and things like, E's and things like that, and I's, they won't cope. So you have to have a C there. Do you remember that's your th sound? So cruce, cruce. But then you're back to normal. You crossed would be cruzaste. Remember there, the A is a toughie. It can cope, okay? Whereas the E and the I, they're slender vowels, okay? Or light vowels, if you like. slender vowels, and they don't like that z sound before them. Okay, anyway, I'm diverging. There's a bit of grammar there, girls. If you want to take anything down there that I wrote down, it might help in your grammar book. So there you had that GAR verb there. Do you remember? So this morning I arrived at a las 8. I hope not a las 11, but there you go. ¿Dónde sueles tomar la comida? Where do you usually take lunch? What do you usually take for lunch? Normally I eat in the canteen with my friends. I usually suelo tomar un bocadillo y una limonada, or suelo tomar patatas fritas y una hamburguesa. Or better still, if you'd say something like suelo tomar una ensalada de tomates, or something like that. Okay, it's something a bit more interesting than a hamburguesa that I've just given you there. So the remainder of the questions then, girls, you had were: ¿Qué sueles hacer cuando llegas a casa? What do you usually do when you arrive home after school? Now, in general, I arrive home at around 4 o'clock, a eso de las 4, and then put as many activities as possible. Normalmente tomo un té y hablo con mi mamá, veo la televisión, prefiero las telenovelas EastEnders y Coronation Street, y las veo a eso de las 7, y después hago mis deberes y repaso mis apuntes. I learn my notes, I revise my notes, y leo una novela, I read a novel, y a eso de las 11 voy a cama, and at somewhere around 11 I go to bed. So that's the kind of answer you might give there, but you can put much more detail in. ¿Qué haces los días ¿Qué haces los días antes de la cena? Okay, now there's a problem here with this wee question, girls. What do you normally do? A diario, that should say. Okay, daily. Después de la cena or antes de la cena. Antes de la cena pongo la mesa, I set the table. Después de la cena leo y charlo con mis amigos, y whatever you want to put in there. Just again, using lots of activities. ¿A qué hora te acuestas los días de diario? What time do you go to bed during the weekdays and at the weekends? Me acuesto a las 11, for example. Now this is an imperfect subjunctive and a conditional answer, and as such it will immediately impress an examiner, as this structure is more associated with A-level work. So if you did not have class tomorrow, what would you like to do? So if you weren't sitting here watching my video today and there was no pandemic, what would you like to do? So if I did not have class tomorrow, I would go to the park with my dog. Do you remember me gustaría? I would like. Always think back on that verb, and then you'll remember how to form the conditional. It's always ia, okay? I would love to go shopping, ir de compras, con mi mamá, with my mum. I would spend the day in a museum, in an art museum, or at a music concert, okay? If I was free, si fuera libre, no haría deberes, I would not do homework. Haría un pastel y lo comería. I would make a cake and I would eat it. I'm doing a lot of that kind of thing every day, except I don't do that bit. I'm compraría un pastel. I would buy a cake and I would eat it. Leería una novela. I would read a novel. And dormiría un poquito más de lo normal. And I would sleep a little more than normal. What is your routine like at the weekends? At the weekends, my routine is very different. I get up at 11, for example, or 10, hopefully not 11, girls, and no voy al colegio, and I don't go to school. I usually, and then say things that you do, for example, ir al cine, y ir al centro comercial, y me acuesto a las 10 or whatever, okay? Add lots of variety. ¿Qué haces normalmente para ayudar en casa? What you normally do, what you don't do. and time expressions. For example, ¿qué haces normalmente? Por la mañana me encanta ayudar en la cocina y normalmente ayudo a mi mamá a preparar pasteles y a preparar la cena. También a veces paso la aspiradora. No me gusta sacar la basura y mi papá lo hace, and my dad does it. Tampoco me gusta trabajar en el jardín. I don't like to work in the garden either, porque hace frío, because it's cold. And then you just adapt that, girls, to ¿qué hiciste? Put it into the different tenses. So, trabajé en el jardín, pasé la aspiradora, lavé los platos, whatever. And then, ¿qué hacías cuando eras joven? What did you used to do when you were young? That's one of the A-level ones. That's one of the A-star questions. That demands things like lavaba los platos, trabajaba en el jardín, limpiaba mi dormitorio. Okay? Now, tonight, girls, you're going to be doing a wee bit of work on these three. So the writing practice. Write a formal letter to a new school describing yourself and family. So using all of the material that you had in the oral questions so far to do that writing practice, okay? That's tonight's work, girls. So if you would chip away at that, and then I'll chat to you then again the next day. Okay, girls, have a nice Tuesday. All the best.